before it is too late.
Yeah, I think one of the realizations inside Ukraine, if you go and talk to people, is that there's a clear understanding that Ukraine has opened a window of opportunity to create a different future, both for Ukraine and for Russia, for the same matter, if Russia is defeated in this war in Ukraine. And the West is too timid to, grasp it and to exploit it and to work with Ukraine, not just as a, at arm's length, but as a true ally in order to reshape what we all want, how we coexist on the European continent. That this is the continent of the smallest size and the biggest diversity, whereas Russia is the big landmass with no diversity at all. So there are all kinds of conceptual conflicts entrenched already in that existence. But I think what also, I'm sure, Arseniy, you would agree, there's a lot of anger in Ukraine that we are wasting time, that we are doing everything that we said impossible at the beginning too late. And this drip feeding of Ukraine's battlefield capability actually turns war in Russia in favor of creating it as a war of attrition, which they think so far they can win. But I'll open now the floor to questions from the audience. I see already lots of hands, so let's bring on the lights. Let's please introduce yourself, and I'll take 2-3 questions. Try to be brief, because as you can see, there's a lot to come. Please, ladies in the first.
Thea Tutberidze, King's College London, War Studies Department. First of all, thank you so much. It's a fascinating discussion. Unfortunately, in the West, we don't have sometimes clear understanding what this war is about. I would like to point few things from the discussion. I remember long ago when the war started, full-scale war, I asked questions, one of the panelists here, about Russia's defeat, and answer was, no, we don't want to defeat Russia. However, history teaches us, without clear defeat, Russia can't be changed. And if we see when it happened, when Russia more or less tried to democratize and modernize, it was when, for example, in Paris, 1956, we assigned.
We can just
okay.
brief it, because we will.
Okay. My point is, I think it's a time now to talk about what actually Ukraine's win means and what actually security means for Europe in long term. Yeah. Because without Russia's political and not only military, but political defeat, we would not have any peace in long term in the future in Europe. Yeah. Because Russia is not only the country state who can deal with it. It is imperialistic nations.
I think we well taken the point.
So do you think in the future we can see different new countries inside the Russian Federation? Because we know there are more than 28, 30 different nations occupied historically by Russia. Do you consider this as a defeat in the future?
Very good question.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's take a bit more. Yeah, here, gentleman in the third row, please, over there. Yeah, no, the gentleman next to you. Sorry, I just take a bit. Yeah.
He's taller.
Yeah, tall. Yeah.
My name is Jordan Bauman. I'm from the University of Waterloo, and I'm a governor there. I just like to discuss like the nuclear problem. I don't think I've heard much discussion about that. How does that impact this? You talk about Russia being defeatable. The argument I hear, at least back in Canada, what about the nuclear bombs?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, very good. Wait, and here, the ladies in the first row, please.
Thank you. Thanks. Latika Burke from the Nightly Australia. I just want to pick up your point on this being an international war and China's involvement. What does that mean for a global response? And actually, doesn't that hamper Ukraine's efforts? Your own government is not that forthright when it comes to China compared to, say, Russia. And actually, the involvement of China in this means other countries who may understand the threat of Russia are more reluctant to get involved if it means China, given their own trading relationships? Thank you.
Well, excellent. The big diversity of questions. So what may happen inside Russia with the de-imperialization of its own proper territory, nuclear, whether it stands on the way, and China? Maybe we'll start with, I don't know, Kir?
Sure. I'll try to keep this super brief, although there's a lot to talk about, and especially in the first two questions. Taya, thank you for agreeing violently with us. The fragmentation idea, Russia will break up if it's defeated, and the nuclear idea, Russia will lob nukes if it's defeated, actually have something in common. It is a myth that has been very successfully sold to the world by Russia, because there are different constituencies that link those two arguments together, and they've been an incredibly powerful tool for Russia, deterring anybody from getting in Russia's way. The idea that, that Russia now replicates the circumstances of 1991, and if you do cause Russia to suffer a strategic setback, it'll break up into mini statelets or warring parties, all of whom have nuclear weapons, and it's a disaster, is not based on fact, because none of the circumstances that applied then pertain. But it's very satisfactory to people who want to argue you can't defeat Russia because it's too dangerous, or if you want to tell Russians the outside world is conspiring to destroy and fragment us, and therefore we need to fight this war even harder. And so it's been sold to different constituencies, and it's self-perpetuating. On the nuclear side, Jordan, the reason I didn't mention it is because it's not relevant, which surprises a lot of people, just as it surprised you.
There were some questions related to that online.
Could talk about this forever. Let me, instead of spending the remaining 22 minutes on that topic, which I very easily could, point you to a Chatham House publication from March 2023 called Russian Nuclear Intimidation and How It Shapes Western Policy. And if you still have questions after reading that, do please ping me.
Okay. Arseniy.
You are so smart, not like we politicians. So I fully share your take.
So next time you'll go first, so you don't have such an easy time here.
Yeah. So here is the thing. I don't have crystal ball what's going to happen to Russia. But I know for sure that the only chance to change Russia is to make Ukraine win, period. If Ukraine wins, this would bring dramatic changes in Russia. This, not a chance.
You think it will change?
I strongly believe that this will definitely change Russia. In what direction, that's another issue, okay? Yeah. But this will bring real changes in Russia. In terms of nukes, here is the thing. I fully share your take. Putin is bluffing. But there is one problem. These lunatics, they have nukes. And if you have nukes, you have so-called button. And if you have this so-called button, there is a minor chance that this bunch of idiots can press the button. The good thing is that China is doing everything to tie his hands. It's not in the interest of China. The same goes with the Americans. And my message to you, I mean to the United Kingdom, and a similar message to France, folks, you are the superpowers. You just underestimate yourself. You have military, cash, resources, economy, and nukes. So why the hell we are scared of Putin? So to put it in a nutshell, yes, he has nukes, but I believe he is bluffing. We have always to be vigilant, careful, but he is bluffing. And that's the very thing that he was playing with the US administration. Just reaching out to the White House under Biden administration and under Trump administration with this nuclear cyber rattling. And that's the reason why the previous administration dragged its feet, but at least delivered support to Ukraine. And I hope that administration will do at least something, because we are still getting the support from the US, but from the previous appropriation package passed by the previous House. And in terms of China. Look, I am not an expert in China. I never comment on the stuff I don't understand. But what I do really understand is that China wants to create a new global order. And it is so obvious for me. It is as plain as the day. Look, they have 1.4 billion people. They have nukes, they have army, they have cash. They've been humiliated by the Western-led order, but in the last 2 decades, they made tremendous progress due to this Western-led order. So that's the reason why I don't buy these kind of statements, negative statements about the Western-led order. So the thing is that, can we as Ukraine handle China's issue? No, we can't. We don't have leverage. But can the EU and the US make it? Absolutely. If you guys present one united front, and if you either negotiate or press on China together, you have a vast majority of different tools.
Yeah, I'll take a few questions from here. Ben and then Dom. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Arissa. Ben Hall from the Financial Times. A lot of the discussion so far has been on what the West and Ukraine's allies need to do to make